relevant to go through your degree and keep you motivated. We welcome Orange.
Good afternoon, everybody, once again. All right. Okay. Thank you, Sharon, for the invitation. Thank you for Olga and Sharon for the inviting me to come and speak to you today about a topic that I'm very, very passionate about. And having worked, we are all in education, right? The educational course, right? Just to confirm. Yes. Okay. I've been involved in a variety of educational talks previously, many of them. So I'm happy to share all this information that I've picked up along the way today. But before I get started, I know it's midday, and I know that sometimes in the midday heat, especially in the sunshine like this, people tend to get a bit of a low, right? Yes? So I like to have a bit of an interactive start and like to get to know you whilst you get to know me. So we're going to do a little bit of an activity. So I'm going to give you 4 movements, all right? And if you can just shuffle your chair back so you've got a bit of space. Just have just to get the blood flowing and the mind moving, all right? I'm going to test if your minds are working or ready to go. Okay, the first movement is stand. Okay? The second movement is arms. The third is clap. And the fourth is sit. Okay? Very simple, very easy, yes? All right? Okay, are we ready to go? Again, here we go. Ready? Stand. Arms. Clap. Sit. Stand. Arms. Clap. Sit. Very good. Okay. I'm just going to test to see if the minds are working okay now. So, when I say sit, that means stand. When I say arms, is arms. Clap is clap. Okay? Sit is stand. Stand is sit. Got it? All right. Can everybody sit? Okay. Not bad. Arms. Ooh. Arms. No, arms. Clap. Stand. Sit. Arms. Clap. Stand. Sit. Arms. Clap. Stand. Okay, all right. Now you can do what some of you are doing. So arms is clap. Clap is arms. All right. Sit is stand. Stand is sit. Got it? Okay. Here we go. Can everybody stand up? Okay. Sit. Clap. Arms. Stand. Sit. Clap. Arms. Stand. Clap. Arms. Stand. Clap. Arms. Stand. Sit. Clap. Okay, you can all sit down. Well done. Okay. Please, can you take your seats? Well done, everybody. Good job. Okay. Good job. Right. That's just to make sure that that the minds are working and maneuvering properly. What I'm going to do, because the light is shining quite brightly, so I'm going to move this table so that I can move without the light shining in me. All right. Great. Well done. So I think let me just make sure that this clicker is working. All right, here we go. So today, what we're going to be covering or going through today are a few inspirational elements. Okay. So today we'll be covering the happiness disruptors, all right, that we have in life, some mindful masteries, as well as some well-being enhancers, and to top it all off, what I call the triple P method. All right. So, firstly, just a little bit of insight and information as to who I am and why I'm here. My name is Courtney Orange. You can just imagine the types of names I was called at school. I am better known as the well-being motivator. All right, I have partaken and created or been a part of over 500 different types of events and spoken at different organizations, universities, colleges, and community events, as well as schools, a lot of schools, actually over 200 schools I've spoken at with different age groups on the topics of well-being, positive mindset, and resilience. And over that journey, I've had the pleasure of inspiring and motivating over 600,000 people. It has been such a privilege. But where has all this energy come from? It came from being a gymnast. I was a gymnast back in the days. I was a gymnast and trained over 10,000 hours. And I was privileged enough to represent the country of, does anybody know this flag? Zimbabwe, that's right. Zimbabwe in Southern Africa. Thank you. Privileged enough to represent the country and also become the 6 times national champion of the country. I was also the 3-time Southern African champion. And the highlight of my career was when I competed for the country at the Commonwealth Games back in 2002. That's giving away some of my age. All right. I don't think some of you were born, right? No? Okay. So I went in from gymnastics. I took the sport of gymnastics and the preparation, the moves, and the mindset into the world of dancing. And I became a professional breakdancer after a bit of an injury, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. And within that breakdancing world, I was privileged enough to perform alongside the likes of Mr. Will Smith. There was also she was a prima donna for sure, Madonna. Also along the sides of Westlife, and for any of you rock fans, there was Iron Maiden. But there was one thing that I understood from transferring over from gymnastics into the dance world, and that was the element of happiness. Whatever I did, whether it be moving, we started off with a bit of movement. Movement made me happy, from being an athlete to being a performer and to being a motivational well-being speaker that I am today. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why we are all here today, right? Reason for being on the course that you are on is because it's given you somewhat a bit of happiness, as opposed to taking an engineering course or a degree in science or building, for example. But along the way, I have experienced, and I'm sure you have, and probably will as well, experience what I call these happiness disruptors, okay? We have all been through them, we will go through them, and they'll continue to happen. One of them, I know that there are some coming up very shortly, are tests and exams, yes? We tend to not be so happy when we hear the word tests and exams, right? Secondly, those deadlines to deliver some coursework, as well as, we have personal issues that disrupt our happiness sometimes. And we also have the ever increasing bills and living costs that we are experiencing right now. And I think you've just finished a talk on digital devices, right? How we can eradicate those digital devices from our daily lives. So these are just a few happiness disruptors that we experience. And these disruptors obviously bring on a bit of stress. They also bring on some anxiety and overwhelm that increase our intenseness in our minds and our bodies as well. I'll tell you a bit of a story. This was the competition hall for the Commonwealth Games where I competed at. And just stepping foot into this hall, there were about 5,000 people watching. Cameras were on, ready to go, and competitors around me. It brought to me so much stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. But there were a few things that I put in place in order to not be so overwhelmed and stressed. The first one was I implemented a few mindful masteries, okay? I think you might already know what the meaning of mindfulness is, but mindfulness definition is paying close attention to the present moment, including your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings. So when I stepped into this competition hall, there were nerves. There were all sorts of things going on in the mind. But I said to myself a few things. The first one was, I said, you know what? Just remember what makes me happy. It's the reason why I'm here today. It's the reason why I have got to this level. And that reason of making me happy just got me a bit more calm and relaxed. The second thing that I thought of was, think of one thing at a time. I was not thinking, now as a male gymnast, we have 6 apparatus. So we've got to think of 6 routines. I thought of the first thing first. I need to focus on one thing at a time and not think of what has happened, if I've made a mistake, or what's ahead of me. Just focus on the current moment, in the present moment. And the third thing was to avoid distractions. I said, okay, if somebody calls my name from the crowd, I'm just going to block it out. Or if somebody comes over to me, I'll give them a bit of my time and then just get down and focus. Like I'm sure you might have seen a lot of athletes do. They're zoned in. So it's really just to avoid the distractions and just enhancing that mindfulness and feeling within your body. And the last thing I said to myself, I'm going to have a positive energy enhancer. So I had a bit of a lucky charm. I don't know why I have this. I like to carry around a few lucky charms sometimes, and I'm sure those of you that are you're going into education, you will find that, especially children, they like to hold on to little young toys to make them comfortable, right? So I had a lucky charm which was in the bag, and I kept on sort of touching it, looking at it, just calming the nerves. It just helped to calm the nerves every time I thought about it. And these 3 elements really helped to hone in on the mindful masteries that I was experiencing to eradicate the stress and tension. So I've got for you, how can you unlock some deeper mindfulness for your better functionality? The first one is, I've got two mindful enhancers. The first one is nature's touch, sight, and sound. You know, when I'm feeling a bit tense and stressed out, I often turn to nature. I look around and think, wow, look at these, the lovely trees, and as actually on the way here, I was feeling a little bit tense. So sometimes you might see somebody brushing their hand against some bushes or flowers. That is a sense of, touching the nature, just calming the nerves down. That's exactly what I did on the way here today. And also a bit of, sights and sounds. By stopping for a moment, listening to the birds, listening to the insects, listening to certain things that are around you. And I love to also watch birds fly, because it just gives me a bit of freedom and shows that, we are nature, and we need to connect more to that nature. So that's one mindful enhancer that you can enhance. Also, the second one is stillness. At 12 o'clock every day, in fact, my alarm has just gone. I've got a reminder to tell myself, stop what you're doing and just sit down for 5 minutes. Those 5 minutes are so powerful. Whatever I'm doing, I just kind of switch off the phone, take a walk, and just sit still for a few minutes. So important, so crucial. Right now, you guys have just come in time, okay? Because we're just about to do an interactive exercise, okay? So we're gonna be doing what I call an overwhelm zone out exercise, okay? I'm gonna give you each a number, so please remember that number, okay? Ready? 1, 2. Can I ask all the ones to please stand up? All right. And can you please pair up with a number 2? Okay, that if you can, if there's somebody next to you, if not, you can turn around. And all the 2s, can you also please stand up? Okay. And find a number 1. If you can find a number 1 that's next to you, or beside you, or behind you. Okay, and I need you, the 1s and 2s, to face each other. You're going to be facing each other. Okay, looking each other in the eyes. So if you got a 1 or 2, yep. Okay. Has everybody got a partner? You don't have? Okay, you can come here with me.
I think you will want to. Okay, we can do together.
Oh, you do the. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, it'll be better if you can partner with her. Is that okay? Okay. All right. Okay. So we are going to be going through a bit of an overwhelming, intense moment right here. Okay. So I would like the number 1s to ask the number 2s questions as to why you haven't prepared for your exams, why you haven't got your coursework ready, and just go intense questions. But the number 2s, I'd like you to defend yourself and say, make sure that you confirm that you have done your preparations and your coursework, okay? But those intense questions, we'll be going for 30 seconds. When I give you a 3-second countdown, I'd like the roles to reverse. The number 2s to ask the questions to the number 1s, okay? Why you haven't done your preparation and your coursework. All right. You can use hand gestures as well. All right? All right. Wait. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Carry on going. Okay, you're going to switch roles in 3, 2, 1. Number 2s ask the questions. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and stop. Okay, everybody, please take your seats quickly. Take your seats. All right, just sit still for a few. Okay, I would like you to just find your pulse. Find your pulse, or put your hand on your heart, wherever you might feel a pulse. Okay, it is beating quite fast, all right? I'm going to take you through a bit of an exercise now that you can decrease that heart rate. All right, so what I'd like you to do is put your hands beside you, get your shoulders up, head up, and I'd like you to take in for 4 seconds a deep breath and hold it for 4 seconds and then release for 8 seconds. Here we go. Take a deep breath in for 4 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it. 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Release for 8 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, take in one long deep breath. And release slowly. All right. I'd like you to put your hand on your pulse again, hand on your heart, and just feel a bit of decrease in your heart rate, okay? Whenever anybody has a bit of tension, a bit of stress, overwhelm, this is one exercise that I do and that I talk about very, very importantly, because it helps to, and even before I go to bed at night, I take in 10 deep breaths and I just feel my heart rate decreasing slowly, just so that I can fall asleep better. All right. So that's an overwhelming activity or exercise that you can. The importance of breathing is so important, so critical. Okay. In fact, there's actually one exercise that I do in the mornings. It's 10 minutes of just lying still, letting the thoughts run through the mind. But then I also do some breathing exercises, and within that breathing exercises, I breathe in and release, and I listen for 50 beats of the heartbeat whilst my breath is out. Okay, and that just calms me down and lets those thoughts even, flow smoother. So that's something that you can implement possibly into your daily lives. Right. There's a few things that we might not look forward to, and again, the element of probably researching on some coursework or a project, some life struggles that we don't look forward to, paying those bills or having those tests. We also have presentations. It is so nerve-wracking to stand up in front of people and present. These are certain things that people don't look forward to. Completing those coursework, handing the coursework in. But there are a few different things that you can implement into these difficult things that we don't look forward to. All right, and it's what I like to call embracing the process. By embracing the process, that can enhance our well-being, right? Enhance our mental health, and just make us a bit more positive in what we're about to go through. The first one is having some gratification, okay? Having gratification in, okay, it might be a difficult thing that we're preparing for and that's lined up ahead, but just, being grateful in having that opportunity to be able to stand up today, to walk, to see, and to actually breathe. Because I can guarantee you one thing, that today, somewhere else in the world, somebody, a student, or somebody that might be studying, didn't have that opportunity or didn't wake up to that opportunity today. So just having that gratification that, what you're going through is part of the process. The second thing is, the lessons from today that you would have learned are preparing you for tomorrow. Whether they be difficult lessons, whether they be hard experiences, but they're all preparing you for tomorrow. And they are forming a future foundation. They are forming a future foundation in what you might be preparing yourself for. Okay, so going through these difficult situations, or going through certain things that we might think that they're difficult or tough, are all for a reason. Okay, and there are two ways that we can look at it. We can look at it from a positive and a negative perspective. So from the positive, or let's say the negative mindset, that guy says, we only live once. But from the positive side, the person says, wrong. We only die once. We live every single day. So embrace it and enjoy every single moment that we come across with. And there's one thing that I always, people say to me, why are you so happy? Why are you so positive? You should be sad in this moment of tenseness. Show something of some sadness. And I say, you know what? You've got to be happy, not because everything is good, okay? But because you see the good in everything. That's something that I like to tell people. People ask me, you should really think about being sad sometimes, because I said, no. Life, we only live for today. All right? And I'm sure there's certain things that actually make us unhappy. Reactions to certain situations. Please, can you put your hands up if this has happened to you? Who has had their screen cracked? Yes. All right. Wow. Now that feeling of when that happens, some people can be, why has it happened to me? Why today? I can't touch, I can't pay, I can't scan, I can't see anything. Wow. But it's a reaction to those situations that can be good or bad for us. And I also talk about this a lot, in that life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we react. If we react negatively, it can bring down our well-being, it can bring down our mental health. But if we react in a way of, okay, you know what, It's happened to me. I'm going to deal with it. Next time I take out my phone, I make sure that I'm holding onto it tight. Or, you learn from those situations. So it's all about how we react in certain situations. This was at a school that we once spoke at and delivered an assembly to. It was a special educational needs school. Now, working with special educational needs pupils is sometimes very, very complicated and difficult. But I was working with this lovely lady. She is a former England kickboxing champion, and she had given an assembly to an SEN school previously. And she told me, Courtney, you know what? When you're speaking, just be calm, just relax. And prepare, or just prepare for your assembly not to go the same as a usual school. So I learned a few things from this experience. And it was also a couple of mental health positive contributors that I learned from this. Because at any one moment, a child could jump up, start screaming, "Wah!" and then run across the room and start playing with something. That's the nature of the special educational needs environment. But I learned 3 things. I learned in that environment to always keep calm, to keep relaxed, all right? The second thing I learned was to be patient. And I have much respect for all the teachers that are involved and go and work in these special educational needs environments, because you have to have a lot of patience, a lot of calmness. And again, those breathing exercises certainly help a few teachers that I had spoken to. And also, instead of seeking reactions, you seek solutions, right? In that environment, whilst I was delivering my assembly, I thought, you know what, I'll just go with the flow. I will just go, if somebody runs in front of me, it's fine. And it's seeking those solutions instead of responding and reacting to something that might not be in your control. Can I ask any of you, how many of you, hands, if you have taken a flight before? Jumped on a plane, experienced a flight? Yes? Been anywhere nice? Great. So I'm sure you would have heard the steward, when they were doing the health and safety brief, to always put your mask on first. Yes? Before you help a child or an older person or somebody that might be next to you. Yeah? And that is so crucial, because in what I have experienced as a professional athlete and an entertainer, these elements of looking after yourself are so vital. And one of them, the most important one, is sleep. Okay, the functionality of sleep. Without a decent night's sleep, if you're getting 5 hours or less, I'm sure you'll feel that towards the end of the day, tiredness starts to kick in. Hands up if any of you have done a 24-hour non-sleeping for 24 hours. Yes? Wow. The feeling after that must have felt, wow. I've done it a few times and it's not a nice feeling. The second element is nutrition. Looking after, whatever we put into ourselves, we get out. If we're putting in those energy drinks, those energy substances, sweets, artificial colorings, it'll degrade our energy. And sometimes towards the end, it'll demotivate us and make us not as productive as we should be. The third thing is, especially on a hot day like this, hydration is so critical, so important. And especially if you're moving, I think the body is made up of between 70 and 80% of water. So it's vital to make sure that we have this hydration in us. Exercise and movement is so important. It helps us to be more productive, get the mind thinking better, and be able to focus and be motivated. And the last important element is community. Having friends that we can speak to or connect with family. These are so, so vital when it comes to looking after yourself. So critical in our functionality. I told you that after my gymnastics career, I went into dance. But the reason of the change was because I picked up an injury. I picked up a knee injury, which meant that I needed to go for a knee operation. And during this, and the reason for that injury was because one of the main reasons was because I hadn't had a decent night's sleep the day before I was training. I wasn't feeling 100%. I didn't move, and as I landed, there was a bit of a snap in the knee. All right, so I can tell you from experience, trying to perform at a high level, whether it be working, whether it be performing, competing, sleep is so, so fundamental to every aspect of life. And this was at a school that I had spoken at last year. And throughout all the talks that I delivered to schools and to teachers of the schools, I often mention my injury and say, you know what, it's through certain things that we go through that we need to understand what has happened, why it's happened. And I always tell the students and the pupils, you know, you have to have that mindset of, I can do it. I have a stool that I take around with me that looks similar to this one, that I have the words written down. In fact, that's a stool there. The words, I can do it, written down. Because, you know, certain things will happen. We need to take care of ourselves first. But certain things do happen. And when you are in that tough moment, just reiterate the words, you know, I can do it. Saying to yourself positive affirmations are so, so crucial. Right. And I'd like to take you through those, when it does come to hard times, we do experience stress. So I've created and I've put together 6 stress busters that you can implement when things are getting a little bit tense. The first one is, S is for stop. Take a second when things get tense. Take a minute. In fact, if you can, even turn around and approach the stressful situation from a different angle and different perspective. I'm sure you've heard the words, go and sleep on it. And in the morning, you can tackle it or try it again. So this is one element of, you know, taking a stand and stop. The T is for tension control. As a gymnast, we were always taught to release the tension before we get onto an apparatus. So I'd like for you to go through an exercise now. If you can just put your hands beside your body, just let them hang down, sit up straight. And just to release a bit of tension, if you are feeling tense, is just to move your shoulders forward, get the blood flowing in the shoulders, and move them backwards. Yes. And you can also just release the tension in the neck. Something so simple like this, between a break of studying, for example, can just release and get the blood flowing around the head. The R is for reduce. Reduce the size of the mountain that you feel that you need to climb. Some of us sometimes think, oh, you know what? I've got so many things to do. I need to do this. I need to study. I need to prepare for the meal tonight. There's so much going on so quickly. But by reducing those elements, possibly tackling one thing at a time, writing down those tasks that you need to do, just helps to break down and not make us so stressed out. The E is for elevate. By elevating mentally and physically above the situation, just helps us to tackle that situation even better. So, if you would, I've got a bit of an activity now. So, if you'd like to participate, I'd like for you all to please, once again, elevate from your chairs. All right. All right. And I want you to imagine yourself that you've got a stressful situation in front of you. And with that stressful and intense situation, you are going to be standing up to it, and just in your mind, you'll be thinking and saying to yourself, I can do it, and I am in control of the situation. Say it in your mind, I can do it, and I am in control of the situation. So you've stood up to it and you visualized it. All right. Now stay standing, because the S is another stress buster that you can do. And that is for stretch. I'm going to give you 3 stretches that you're going to follow me to do, which will relieve a bit of tension and a bit of stress. The first one is standing up, stretching up, and leaning over to one side, and leaning over to the other side. You get the blood flowing. Keep on breathing. All right. You're going to get down, get your arms down. And what you can do now is, I'd like for you just to go to your knees. If you can get the space, and see if you can roll your fingers all the way down to your feet. Touch your toes. Yes. Great. Great, great. And slowly come up. This is good to stretch the backs and the hamstrings, especially if you've been sitting down for too long, because the hamstrings get a little bit tight. And the third stretch is by interlacing our fingers behind our backs. Okay? A lot of us are stood in front of the phones or on the computers, or so that makes our chest all curve in. So this is going to stretch out your chest. So interlace your fingers behind you. And I'd like for you to lift up your arms. We're going to hold that for 5 seconds. 4, chin up. 3, and smile, please. 2, 1, and down. All right. Great. Just those are 3 stretches that you can do anytime, anywhere, when you have a break. Wait. Don't hold on. There's one more thing. The last S, the last stress buster, is what I like to call a superpower pose. Okay? Psychologists and scientists have said that by holding a power, wow, that's a perfect power pose. Yes. By holding a power pose before you take on any stressful situation will help us to take it on with a bit more confidence and a bit more positivity. So we're going to hold a power pose just for a few seconds. So it can be hands on your hips, which is the usual standard one, or it could be V for victory, or it could be hands on your heads, or if you wanted to go the extra mile, you could do a superpower pose. Okay? So I want you to get a power pose of your choice, and we're just going to hold that, stand in the power pose of your choice, and I'm going to count from 3 to 1. When I get down to 1, just imagine that stressful situation that you're about to take on. I'd like for you to say the words when I count from 3 to 1, the words as if you're about to take on that stressful situation, the words, come on! All right? As if you're really ready to go, okay? All right. Can you get into your power pose, please? Ready to go. All right? The stress is in front of you. You're gonna take it on. And here we go. As loud as you can and for as long as you can. Here we go. 3, 2. Okay, that was a bit early. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Come on! Yes. Great job. Amazing. So just remember those the power pose element, stretch element, and elevation. Thank you very much. You can take your seats. Thank you. Okay. Going to move on to a few well-being super enhancers. And there's a formula that I like to use, which is called the IES love formula. Okay. So the IES love formula stands for the internal, your external, and your self-love formula. Okay. They are formed of 3 elements. The first one is visualizations. For example, if you have programs, schedules, classes ahead of you, and just simply waking up in the morning and visualizing what is going to be needed to be done and how you can positively achieve those tasks, programs, and schedules, it helps to increase our neuroplasticity and also improves our motivation, confidence, focus, and performance, just simply by thinking and visualizing what lies ahead. The second element is preparations. What I like to use is, and the preparations reduce our stress and anxiety. It's a technique that is called the 15-10-5 technique. That is, wake up 15 minutes earlier in your day, prepare before each task, so don't arrive on time to class, or don't arrive on time, no, 10 minutes before, prepare, think about the class, or think about the session, think about what you're about to do, your task, and afterwards, after the session, class, or whatever you are going through, take 5 minutes to reflect. What did you take away from it? How can you improve from that class? What have you learned? And the third element is mirror motivation. This will help to boost your confidence and inner strength. Believe me, if my mirror could talk to me, wow, the amount of words that it would be saying back to me, because the way I speak to it in the morning, it's such an amazing element that you can that boosts your confidence. It not only says, I think far too often we always look in the mirror and we try and pick out the bad bits. Oh, I haven't put enough makeup here, or I haven't shaved today. But instead of saying, wow, you are looking amazing today. Yes? So having that mirror motivation, in fact, one thing that I do in the morning, I do go and I kiss the mirror sometimes in the morning. Wow, you're gonna do it today. And all these elements of the mirror motivation helps to boost our resilience, our positive mindset, and believe it or not, our emotional intelligence. So the next time you look in the mirror, just remember to think positive, okay? All right, the external expressions. The first one is our clothes. Did you know that the clothes that we wear can sometimes boost our well-being or actually bring it down? All right, the color red, yellow is for vibrancy. All right, and the dark colors, dark greens, dark blues, black, for example, if you are wearing those colors, it could actually bring your mood down. So next time you dress for an occasion, possibly think, oh, I would like to, feel positive today. There's a huge element of color psychology that if you're keen to have a research into, really helps to boost your well-being. The second element is our body language and our voice energy. 55% of our communication is through our body language. 38% is through the tones of our voices. And only 7% is through the actual language that we speak. So when you walk into somewhere, it might be a room where you internally might be feeling a little bit low that day. But if you walk in like this, you'll continue to feel that lowness. All right? Compared to if you're feeling a bit low and you walk in with a bit of energy, it actually helps to boost your positivity and your energy, your mood. All right? So another thing, your body language contributes hugely to your well-being. And the last thing is, you can go above and beyond, all right, by giving something or saying something to someone, something nice, by giving something. I've often found I actually do tend to meet people randomly, And I like to give people stickers, motivational stickers. Hey, here we go. And these small elements of giving or saying something nice just increases and boosts your well-being and your mental health state of mind. Moving on to self-love. Okay, giving yourself that self-praise when you look in your mirror, in the mirror. Hey, good job today. Well done. Good job. All right. Give yourself a pat on the back if you've completed something successfully. Selfie notes. I have these notes, stickers that I put all over the place. I've got some on my laptop. I've got some all over the house. And it's just a reminder to say, you know what? Keep on going. Keep it up. Keep positive. Remain confident. And they hugely increase our well-being. If we see them, we pass by them, we notice them, they're so important. Also, creating self-boundaries. I know you've just spoken about mobile phones and what time you could be using better instead of using the mobile phones. There are so many things that can be implemented, but we have not been taught or learned. At 8:30 in the night, I've got a teenage son, and I say to him, right, that's it, phone off, and you're going to charge the phone downstairs. Don't bring it up. Don't charge it next to your bed. 1 hour before bed, no phones. All right? It's creating those self-boundaries that can actually improve and enhance our well-being. Also, what I do every single day is journaling, self-journaling. I write down 3 to 5 things that have happened, positive things in that day. The day might not have gone well, even if it means writing down, I had a lovely breakfast, or I took a walk in the park, or I had a good conversation with somebody. It doesn't necessarily mean writing down, I passed my exams, or I achieved something. No, something positive, something so simple. Just helps you before going to bed that you've completed the day positively. So that forms the IES love formula. Now, one element that really helps to boost our motivation and our confidence is the element of movement, and I mentioned it earlier. And another thing that I really love to do is set myself a timer. I know that there's a lot of places, a lot of people tend to sit down for a lot of their days, okay? A lot of time during the day. But if I am sitting down or need to sit down, because I actually have a standing desk at home, and I also have a treadmill at the standing desk, so that helps me to keep moving. But what I found is if I do need to sit down, before I sit down, I set a timer. Hey Google, okay Siri, hello Alexa, set me a 47-minute timer. Sitting down, working, 47 minutes, the timer goes, I'll stand up, go for a walk, do a few movements for 3 minutes, and it allows me maybe to go and have a bit of a refreshment break, come back, and then, so that gives me 13 minutes to move, to get something, and then to go back and sit down again. So 47-minute timer is something that I really like to set, especially when, as soon as I sit down, I set that timer. Right. This is a friend of mine who's based in Manchester, and he's recently graduated. And I asked him, what are the toughest things that you, as a student, experienced throughout your studies and throughout the time whilst studying? The first thing he says is moving away from home was one of the toughest elements that he experienced. And there was also, the academic and finance pressures that he was experiencing, and also the lack of social and emotional support systems. So I said to him, his name is Ching. I said, Ching, listen, I want to shine some light onto these things that you have been experiencing. And I shared with him 5 rays of light, what I like to call beams. Now, these beams will boost your confidence and your well-being. The first one is to set bold goals, to define what you want to achieve each day, possibly by writing them down the night before and then looking at them in the morning when you wake up. Define those goals that you want to achieve from a lesson or a certain term or semester. The second one is eliminate notifications. As soon as you download any app today, the first thing that app will ask you, can we send you notifications? Yeah, so try and eliminate those, because when you get that beeping through, the vibration, it triggers off something within you. Also, clearing the clutter. I was always told to your desk space, your study space, make sure you clear the clutter, because that helps to clear the mind and helps you to focus a bit more. The third one is adjust and reflect, to refine those habits and routines. It again applies that 15, 10, 5-minute rule sort of applies to this adjust and reflect. Once you've been through something, reflect on it. Once you've gone through the day, reflect on how the day went. Just spend a few minutes. It doesn't take long to and then you adjust your habits accordingly. The fourth one is, mingle. Get out, away from the screens, join clubs, go out and volunteer. I saw, I think, downstairs in the reception that there was a volunteer awards here at the university. It's so crucial to get away from the screen. Sometimes we're just sucked in so much, but we can and we should try to get away a bit more. The last one is slow down. Okay, I'm sure you've heard of the saying, more haste, less speed. Trying to do too many things too quickly can end up taking you longer. It's happened to me a few times where I've been preparing something in the kitchen. Oh, time is ticking. Something drops. Oh my goodness, I have to now clean it up. And it takes even longer because I was rushing. So slow down. These are our 5 rays of light that can help you to take on things a bit more calmly. Right. I'd like to finish off with the triple P method, which is perspective, patience, and pause. Okay? The triple P method, perspective firstly. Many of us might have experienced this, or we will experience it, where there will be queues in the grocery store or in the petrol queue. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm standing in a queue, and for some reason, I'm standing patiently, just observing, what's happening around me. But I just feel a sense of pressure behind, where somebody might be. You can feel that energy. What am I doing? Why are you breathing so heavily on my shoulder? So instead of feeling that negative energy from behind, change that perspective. Reframe the perspective from frustration to understanding. Realize what might be happening in front. Understand, that you might be there for a reason. You can observe what is happening around you and take it in. Some things that you might not notice if you hadn't stopped. The second P is patience. Patience. Patience for calmness, okay? There is another method. Again, if things are becoming intense in the mind, there's a grounding technique called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So finding 5 things, just say you're in that tense moment. If you find 5 things that you can see and count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just helps to bring down that intenseness. Finding 4 things that you can touch, piece of clothing, trousers, maybe your skin, your hair, your shoes. 3 things that you can hear, the birds. I can hear the air conditioning going on here, or I think it's the projector. 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. It just helps to lower, again, that heart rate if you are feeling a bit intense in whatever you might be going through. And the third P is for pause. Once again, that stillness, that breathing that we talked about earlier is so crucial. I would like to just leave you with a few more additional well-being boosters. In the UK, where we are studying, sometimes the light is not so strong. Okay, we have very little sunshine, and sunlights, special sunlights help to just boost that mood. If you have it whilst you're studying, whilst you're indoors, these sunlight lamps can certainly boost your well-being mood. Secondly, laughter sounds and funny videos. I'm sure you've heard of a video of a baby, and that video is so contagious. Oh, it just gets those happy hormones, those endorphins moving within you. The third thing is challenge yourself. Instead of possibly maybe having a cold shower in the morning, just challenging yourself. Instead of taking the elevators or the lifts, try and walk up the stairs. Pushing yourselves to another limit helps you to increase your resilience. The third thing, or the fourth thing is, they'll set those timers, those reminders of when to stop, when to pause, when to stand up, and when to move. And the last thing, believe it or not, some people have cages for their mobile phones that they say, right, I'm not going to touch my phone. I'm going to lock it up. It's got a timer on it. So these are things that can certainly assist you in increasing and boosting your well-being. Which inevitably we are all here to graduate, right? Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, in order to do so, if you are unable to think about how you can become more productive along that journey by being mindful of certain situations, certain circumstances, having that positive mindset approach, also following some of the